BPod Studios.
Fred, hello. Hello.
Human feces, urine, and debris.
Ta-da. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Jackpot.
Hello. Hello.
I'm John Wallach on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
How do you like that?
Hello. Welcome to the show.
How humiliating.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy. We're in the Town Fair Tire Studios. You can call us at 617-779-0985. You can watch us on twitch.tv or the Twitch app. We are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And it's cold. So you got that going for you guys. You guys knocked it out of the park Valentine's Day? Did you guys knock it out of the park with your ladies, your respected ladies, for Valentine's Day?
Oh,
Sure.
Don't you worry about me. I took care of business, okay? Don't you worry about me, pal.
You lay in the marital bed?
I don't know. There's a whole lot of laying down going on. We got, a rumpus room for that type of activity.
Yeah, you gotta swing.
Couldn't even get to the bed. That's how positive it was.
I'm always interested in the people who have the large apparatus, whether it's a swing or you see one in the movie Burn After Reading. George Clooney walks around with a big wedge, the wedge pillow, because that is supposed to. It's like do you know what I'm talking about? It's like It's like a ramp. Like, first of all, I guess the ramp could be stored under the bed, but there's plenty of times, especially once you reach a certain age, where you're not feeling amorous. You just don't feel sexy. But that swing is always going to be hanging somewhere. That wedge, unless you're shoving it under the bed or way back in the closet, you're going to look at that thing and what do you think to yourself when you see that thing? Like, oh, God.
So the wedge pillow is you would get on your knees and use it as support? What is the wedge pillow for?
I believe so. I believe it is specifically designed for a certain position that promotes a position made famous in a Two Live Crew song. Face down.
And also a Brandon Merriweather song.
Yes.
That he did for us.
VIP on Swole, yes.
Yeah, VIP on Swole.
Yeah.
He uses that line.
Yeah.
Oh, so
I don't
the
know.
woman would use the wedge pillow?
Yeah, the woman
so.
would be.
Okay.
Yes.
I believe so.
All right. Well,
Makes sense.
I don't know. I like the way God intended. Through a sheet is how I do it. So I don't know what the woman's doing on the rare occasion that I might fornicate. Yeah. So your wives were excited with what you did?
What, my wife didn't even want to go out to dinner last night, and the kids wanted to, as they almost always do, they have their own ideas about dinner. And my daughter wanted one thing, my son wanted something else. They ate at about, 5:36, and I asked Marcy, I'm like, do you want to go out to dinner? No. And we had something at home, and that was it.
I took my daughter out to dinner, and there was no one at the restaurant.
See, that's what Marcy said last night. She's like, you want to go out to eat on Valentine's Day? We don't have reservation. I'm like, well, we're just going to, someplace local. I'm not talking about, going to Del Frisco's Grill. We're talking about Town Spa or C.F. McCarthy's, something simple, close, right? And I thought the same thing. I'm like, I bet it's not going to be that busy. And lo and behold, Fred, where did you go? Do you want to say?
It doesn't matter. I did a place on Needham Street, District something. It's a local restaurant in Newton.
Okay. And place was not packed.
No, it was like half full.
Oh, boy.
And it's not a bad restaurant. Like, it's a perfectly acceptable place to take a lover or a child out for dinner. I mean, you could easily take a lover there.
Right.
I mean, it would be not a problem. I mean, you could take a lover there and wine them and dine them, but there's nothing like the disappointment of the waitress knowing that you're with your daughter and that neither of you are drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
So I order an extra appetizer just to pump up the check a little bit.
Sure.
Even one that we're not going to touch. I just order the appetizer to juice the bill a little bit because even my daughter was like, this lady is sassy.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, she did not seem overly thrilled, which I get. She probably thought I'm working Valentine's Day. This is going to be a jam-packed affair. I'm going to be turning tables like there's no tomorrow. Then she realizes it's not that crowded. And then here comes some bozo with his daughter, and they're not even, ringing up a big tab. So, and because he's drinking tab, the Diet Coke of the 70s.
I gotcha.
Sure.
And and so I did. I ordered a appetizer that neither of us ever ate. I just had it sit there on the table because I felt guilty about not ringing up a bigger tab.
Sounds like you ordered the wrong app. What apps did you order?
I had the POW, whatever the tuna and edamame dishes.
Okay.
And then I got hummus.
Dumb move. That's your mistake right there.
What should I have gotten?
Soup.
That's not an appetizer.
Sure it is.
It can be treated as one.
But there was only
Sure
one
it
soup
can.
on the menu, and
What was it?
It was a seafood chowder,
That's
and
what
I
I'm
was
saying.
not interested.
See, it could be soup, it could be chowder, but both can come before the meal.
And I got something more expensive than I actually wanted to ring up. This is the curse of having waited tables: is that as soon as instead of going, "Wow, I don't like this server; they're being sassy," I feel guilty and responsible for them being sassy. So I ordered something more expensive than I normally would have ordered because my daughter just wanted a plain cheeseburger, which you could not get on the adult menu. So I had to order it off the kids menu. And then so I said, well, I can't order what I want to order. I'm going to have to order duck, which I've been told they slaughter in the back of the yard. They have a makeshift pond that they lure them into. They just have an old guy there with breadcrumbs,
right?
And then they come out sporadically with rifles and kill them. But I had the duck because I felt I was not spending enough money. That's the whole thought process. There's too much thinking going on. Too much thinking.
I do like the idea of a guy sitting back there with a hunting rifle in order to slaughter ducks instead of just walking up to him, grabbing him by the neck, and yank. There you go.
No. They'll fly away. I mean, we've all chased ducks around in order to snap their necks. They're very elusive.
You know what I've always said about ducks, Fred, and I'm on record. You can go back and you can check my history on this. Everyone loves ducks. No one's ever unhappy to see a duck. Oh, look, ducks. Whether they're flying, walking around, ducklings crossing the street, what you talking about? Geese, on the other hand.
Satisfying crunch when ducklings are walking across the street.
Oh, fancy.
And you just accelerate.
Why don't you
and you look around?
Why don't you sit this one out and let me talk to Wallach about ducks? Because I can tell he's picking up what I'm laying down here. Geese, on the other hand, you can go F yourselves.
Oh, but they leave behind such dropping.
Right. Mostly on golf courses and in parks and places where you want to be walking.
And rolling.
And they're aggressive. They do that hissing thing. But a duck, who doesn't love a duck? You don't love ducks?
No.
You ever
you
eat
don't
them?
put a smile on your face when you see ducks?
No, I mean, it's the Boston make way for ducklings thing. I get it.
Right.
But
It's like a whole cultural thing. Keep going. You'll get there.
Ultimately, though,
Effing duck boats, Wallach.
Okay,
The
great.
most
I don't
most
think they're named
glorious
in
and
honor of ducks.
I honestly don't think they
I
think
think
about
that's because
that.
they're on the land and the
You know
sea.
what? You know who we want to honor here? The duck. That's what we want to honor. I don't think that was.
That's
part
right.
of the
They're
thought
named because they
process.
can get real low and stay out of trouble. That's why they're called duck boats. Hey, everybody, duck.
No, because they're the land and the sea.
Yeah, that's right. After ducks. because ducks can do both, because they're glorious creatures. And the duck boat here in Boston is the most revered and glorified mode of transportation ever. Everyone loves ducks. It's a fact. It's not my opinion. It's not a developing theory. It's just something that is factual that needs to be talked about more.
You know, the
And
NHL.
thank God I finally have the platform to do
The,
it.
the NHL loves ducks too. Named a team right after them. You know?
See?
Yeah.
The coolest name in the
That's right.
NHL.
I'm not a big fan of the duck.
They they have these old bags out there, and they're throwing. They wet down the parking lot. I've been told in the back, and they have these old bags throw Wonder Bread into it, and then the ducks come in, and then they go, hey, and then a guy from the kitchen comes out and just blasts them, and then they chop them up and put them on your plate, and then with a little mushroom risotto.
Is this District Place? Is this what type of cuisine is it? How would you describe it? Is it
Cambodian?
Is it Asian?
It's where my daughter is a huge Cambodian friend. No, I don't know. I would say that it's
Asian fusion.
elevated comfort food. I'm being told.
Oh,
All right.
and they have duck.
Elevated comfort food. Elevated. Like Harold Miner,
Okay.
rise into the rim.
You say elevated comfort food, and I think like, oh, maybe like a pork chop with a nice glaze and some kind of potatoes done up.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe.
But you're not the
potatoes
innovator.
Lyonnaise.
You're not the
Very
innovator.
nice.
You wouldn't. That might slice it in Canton.
But no one's
But
ever
if you're
had-
going to compete in Newton,
No one's
you
ever-
better bring your A game.
That's where all
No
the
one's ever
chefs
said,
go.
"Oh my God, this duck! It's really good." It's not like my mom used to make. My mom's duck was a little dry and a little bare bones.
This duck is elevated.
This duck is elevated. Duck is not comfort food.
Well, no, but maybe they say it's we want game, and what could elevate this game? You
But
know,
change it. They're changing the game. That's the tagline for the restaurant.
I think that.
Why don't you call their PR person?
I'm going to go there tomorrow and just talk to the bartender or the bartender.
Oh, yeah.
And see if he's hiding in the back
Why don't
on the
you-
account of all the disease in here.
Why don't you talk to the busser? My daughter busses at a local restaurant, and man, is she getting an education on how not to act in a restaurant by some of the people who come into that restaurant.
Yeah, well, that's why I am racked with guilt whenever I go into a restaurant and end up doing things like ordering food I don't want and food I'm not going to eat.
Because you did it.
Because I did it.
I did it. She's doing it. A friend of mine the other day mentioned that he had never worked in a restaurant, and I looked at him for about a half a second. And I said, "Yeah, that tracks." And I could have said, and I don't know that I've been out to eat with them more than once, but I said, "Yeah, that kind of makes sense now."
Yeah,
can tell you've
I'm
never
going to
worked in a
make that.
restaurant.
Ideally, I'd like them to wait until they're out of high school, but once they're in college, I want them working in restaurants because it is an education. Very quickly, Dan, go ahead.
Fred, I think I put the wrong term on the comment, but I am very impressed, and it's very interesting how your brain works, because you're incredible on the radio because you don't care what people think, but your personal life, all I've heard is about how thoughtful and nice you are, and you're so concerned about what a waitress is thinking and trying to be nice, but then that would make for terrible radio. So do you get all of it out on the radio and then you repent in your personal life? Because you seem like a nice guy, and I'm just trying to figure out what goes on in your poor head, because you seem like you torture yourself in your personal life. So I didn't know what that was.
Thank you, Dan. You're right. To walk with this morality is a gift for society, but a curse for the self.
I've spent some time with you in your personal life, and I would say, don't you worry about Fred. There's plenty of his acidity in his professional life that bleeds over into his personal life as well. It's not a complete 180. What?
I just don't think that's fair. I think Dan said it best.
Well, that time you beat up the hostess at Applebee's because she wanted to seat you at a high top instead of a booth.
No,
I thought
she
that.
hit me.
I thought that.
She hit me. She hit me on the account I couldn't shut up about those two jugs. Whoa, wee! Hachi mama! I like to sit my head twixt those melons.
Thanks for the memories.
Yes. I heard casabas are on the menu.
I didn't think I wanted a milkshake, but now I want two.
Baby want to milky, is what I said. No, you know what's funny is whenever people say that I'm caustic on the radio, I don't understand. I think I'm very nice all the time, and I do care what people think about me on the radio. It's how I'm judged. Nick makes these videos, and then people make very cruel comments about my appearance.
I'm telling you, man, stop reading the comments.
They say such cruel things about my appearance.
Yeah, just don't read them.
Oh, well, I mean, come on, Hardy. How else am I going to improve? All right, what's going on? What happened? I mean, there was a real banger last night. I hope you guys spent the hour and 50 minutes required to watch this game.
Really enjoyed the time I devoted to watching the Celtics last night. The biggest story, an awful one out of Kansas City at the parade there, so I'll tell you what's developing in that situation. And there was also an arrest made, not because of what happened on the ice or on the court, but before a basketball game even took place last night.
No, I don't know that story. I'm interested. You got me hooked with the tease. All right, we will be back in just a moment.
BackstageCountry.com, your online home for all things country music. Wondering who made our list of the top 5 all-time queens of country music? Did Carrie Underwood make the cut? Find out now when you text Queens to 45911 and scroll through the list on BackstageCountry.com. Text Queens to 45911 to see the talented artists who rounded out our top 5 list.
Zolak and Bertrand get you through the workday at 10. Right now, it's Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy very quickly. Brian, go ahead.
It's actually Larry from Celtic. What's going on, guys? Been a long time since I called in. I, too, was a guest in the half of the re. I just wanted to say, listen, I love your vitriol, dude. I need it when I'm driving into work. I wake up, I kiss my wife, the 4 dogs, I'm all happy. I get in the car, and I need to get ready for construction. I love the program. Don't change who you are, Fred. We love you from day one, brother.
All right, thank you, Brian. It said back off Hardy. So I thought someone was finally going to put Hardy in his place. But thank you, Brian. That was an excellent phone call.
Boy, you're on a real mission here lately. Let me tell you something. A real mission to make me out to be the bad guy.
Do you want to buy this concoction Yager selling?
What? Yes. I don't.
What is that?
Just
Did you
order.
see it?
Order.
No, I can't.
Order 2 right now.
It's like an eyedropper of fluid.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes. Please.
My
Thank
seed.
you.
Buy Yager seed. It won't make you pregnant. It never has before.
Remember that picture of the woman? Was it the woman who took a selfie of her and Yager in bed? You remember that?
And she was trying to bribe him, and he was like,
he's like, so?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I banged her. And they're like, but you have a girlfriend. He's like, whoopsie daisies.
He just didn't care.
No, he didn't care at all. He's like, my girlfriend, my girlfriend will not leave. And he's like, you're hot. I banged you. Yes, of course.
I don't care.
Yeah, we breathe air. We live, we die. Yager banged the beauty queen.
That was great.
That was,
It was a classic. Yager's at least 30 years older than her, and she was looking for. Well, she maybe was 21. She's like, I'm gonna get rich.
Well, listen, if I had sex with someone I was 20 years older than, let's say 20 years older than, 25 years older than, and they put it on the internet, I'd be like, yeah.
It makes me look good.
Yeah, and every piece
really good.
And every piece of hate mail I'm getting is either going to be from a woman or a jealous guy. All right, go ahead, Hardy. I'm sorry. I had to take that call, though, as you know I did.
I know. So we all heard the news yesterday about the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl parade taking place yesterday, Kansas City, Missouri. Gunfire erupted. Some of the players were still on the stage. Multiple reports coming in terms of numbers. More than 20 people were shot, whether it was 22, 23, that's kind of gone back and forth. One person was killed, and that person has been identified as a local DJ. The radio station put out a statement saying it is with sincere sadness and an extremely heavy and broken heart that we let our community know that DJ Lisa Lopez, host of Taste of Tejano, lost her life today in the shooting at the KC Chiefs rally. Hearts and prayers are with her family. And they, like law enforcement, are giving out the phone number for anybody with information, 816-234-5111, because this is mostly about fact-finding right now. The video that we all saw circulating online was of a guy being tackled, and most people immediately thought and said, oh, there you go, there's the shooter. They don't know how many people were shooting. They, meaning law enforcement officials in the aftermath, the immediate aftermath of that, don't know how many shots were fired. What they do know is that there were a lot of injuries. As I said, more than 20. 8 had immediately life-threatening injuries, transported to hospitals within 10 minutes. 6 more had minor injuries. This happened on the west side of Union Station in downtown Kansas City. If you're familiar with the area at all, I'm not. I've only been there a couple of times. But they said witnesses describe watching officers run into surrounding buildings. The police chief said the incident happened outside. So there was confusion as to where the shots were coming from, how many were shooting, what was going on. Most of the officers that were present, 800 law enforcement agents from various departments, state police, Kansas City police, all these people, they started helping people who were hurt. But the person who was detained, again, immediately in the video that we saw of somebody being tackled, is he the quote-unquote shooter? Is he one of the shooters? He had a weapon on him, according to the person who tackled him, but police said they have 3 people that they have detained for further investigation, and they are looking for more. So this is something that is going to continue to develop. They're trying to figure out what exactly happened, and the key things they're looking at, as I said, how many shots were fired, the amount of time in between shots, the motive, of course, who was the gunman, how many were there, and this is going to involve a lot of collecting of physical evidence, digital evidence, film. They're asking for people with video to get in contact with law enforcement. And as the Kansas City Chiefs organization has said, they are saddened by this senseless act of violence, and the NFL says its thoughts are with the victims and everyone's affected.
They the NBC News was out there, what I saw, and then they were doing a live shot, and they had, not during the incident, but after, and they were showing, like, the tops of the buildings, and there's dudes with those, like, crazy, they're, police officers, but they have sniper rifles with the scopes on them and stuff. They were up there. So, I mean, Kansas City had all that stuff in place. And where the shootings took place was in front of this train depot, like the big, I guess, architectural thing in Kansas City, and this train depot and this big, like, lawn, like this big grassy area. And when they told people to leave, like, I guess it was very difficult to get out of there, as it would be, because they said there was tens of thousands of people in this particular area. And I guess the weather was incredible because a lot of people had short-sleeve shirts on and stuff, and they said that that's why they're thinking that maybe 1 million people were out at that parade. Not where the actual shooting was, but 1 million people were around the parade route. They're saying thousands to tens of thousands. I mean, it was real loose, but this is exactly what the guy said. Thousands to tens of thousands of people were in that grassy area where they were giving the speeches and stuff, and there was moments in those speeches that were, lighthearted, but then obviously all this happened and changes the tenor of the conversation around it.
Yeah, it does, especially there's so many of these who are wounded or somehow injured. And, you can imagine with 1 million people around, like you said, Fred, as if it's not bad enough to have, as many as 20 or more people suffering from gunshot wounds. Some of them are children, and then some were taken to the local children's hospital. Others were taken to other hospitals. But then people were injured just in the stampede and the rush to get away from there. So some of those people with minor injuries just walked in by themselves and were checked out and either released or still there. Those weren't life-threatening. But now all they're trying to do is figure out what happened. And the one person who is, who's been talking already is this Paul Contreras. And he's the one you see on the video tackling, the alleged shooter. And I don't say that because I'm like some innocent until proven guilty. I mean, if that was the guy, that's the guy. But even the police are saying, we don't know who the guy is, how many guys there are. Now, this guy had a gun on him, and it looks like he may be at the very least one of the guys. It was his daughter who shot the video of him. She was there at the parade with her father. And, I mean, you see him and you see another guy chase this guy down, tackle him, and then hold him on the ground until cops get there. It's like, holy crap. All he said was, I didn't hesitate. The whole time he's fighting to get up and run away. We're fighting each other, I'm fighting to keep him down, and he's fighting to get up. And if you've seen the video, that is a pretty accurate description of what happened when Paul Contreras and this other guy took that one person down. Who that person is, if he's a lone shooter, if he's one of the shooters, they don't know. And law enforcement officials have a lot of work ahead of them in figuring out what exactly happened.
Unfortunate, but true. I'm wondering if you are a team in a situation like this. It sounds like Kansas City had all the security you could ask for. I mean, I saw a lot of video, too. I didn't see the video that Fred saw of the snipers on top of the buildings that surround it. But something like this happening at a pure thing, like a celebration, like a victory parade, do you think this is, I don't know about a game changer, but how do you, you can't guarantee safety for everybody, so how do you, in the future, go forward?
Yeah, it's just...
Well, it's happened before. I was reading something yesterday that there's been numerous incidents of things like this. So, I mean, it's not something that's not a standalone thing.
My daughter was trying to work on it. In fact, she's turning it in today. It's this essay they've been working on for weeks, and they have to argue pros, cons, gray areas of. And her topic was gun violence, gun control, both sides of the issue, and this long form essay for one of her classes. And she was asking me to go over it last night, and I'm like, you can't do it in an essay, and good luck. And I know you have to turn this thing in tomorrow, but the whole issue and part of her assignment was to come up with the solution. I'm good
luck. Jesus.
Yeah. They're asking you as an 11th grader to come up with a solution for it. I said,
yeah, piece of cake.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, kid. And I wasn't glib about it. I wasn't being flip about it. Fred, I'm sure your kids have had to go through it. Wallach, your kids have had to go through it. It's not just the drills, actual lockdowns at their school. Whenever something happens and they don't quite know what's going on, it turns out, and they got to huddle in a classroom. And this happened to my daughter at least once, where the teacher was really scared and telling them to be quiet.
Yeah, too.
So nobody knew they were in the classroom. And now it wasn't a shooter at their classroom, but that's how they're conditioned now. That's how they have to be.
This was
prepared.
Across town, they had a shelter in place for about an hour and a half because of an incident across town. And my kids are in third grade in their elementary school. And obviously they're shaken when they got home because then the rumors start flying. But I guess the point is they have had to go through something like this because of an incident that was nowhere close to their school, and it scared the crap out of them.
Well, I mean, my son had a game at a Jewish school, and it was the amount of security required to operate that place is insane. I mean, it's a ton and tons and tons of security, all over the place. Armed security, everything's locked, every door is locked. There's you got to talk to people. I mean, they need it. They feel like they need it, and they probably do. So it's very unfortunate. All right. We'll move on to the less serious side of sports in just a moment here.
BackstageCountry.com, your online home for all things country music. Award-winning movies often have incredible soundtracks, and many of those have gone on to become country gold. We've picked our top 5 country songs that have been nominated for an Oscar. Text Oscar to 45911 to see if your favorite made the list on BackstageCountry.com. Text Oscar to 45911 and we'll send the link straight to your phone.
.com.
Twitch feed of this is going to be used all around the internet.
Get up.
The cat is finally out of the bag.
Get up.
We're back. Hunter and Hardy.
Get up.
98.5 The Sports Zone.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy.
This might be my favorite Rage Against the Machine lyric in this song. I believe it is Inca, bottle of ink, paintings of rebellion, drawn up by the thoughts I think.
Ooh. I just like
Drawn up by the thoughts I think. I think thoughts. There he is at.
Tom Morello, big nerd. Big old nerd. Big Dungeons and Dragons. The guy who's married to Sofia Vergara from Magic Mike. He used to be married to her. I guess
Right.
not anymore. He has a Dungeons and Dragons game at his place in Los Angeles. It's a celebrity Dungeons and Dragons. Vince Vaughn's in it, strangely enough.
Oh.
But apparently, and I don't know how this happens, and John can't answer me because he doesn't know either, even though he did play Dungeons and Dragons. You probably did too.
No. I tried one time with my friend Mark Harper, and we set up the board, and we were so bored within 5 minutes, we just went outside and started playing like live Dungeons and Dragons and trying to hit each other with wooden swords.
Okay. Well, he's got like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I saw a thing on it in figurines. Like, so when you go to his house, and he's this handsome fella and everything, but when you go to his house, he's got hundreds of thousands of dollars in Dungeons and Dragons stuff, and Tom Morello is one of the players.
Oh.
The Night Watchman.
Yeah.
His single folk. Yes.
Not Vince Vaughn. It's Vin Diesel.
No, and Vince Vaughn's in it.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking at some of the names here. Terry Crews apparently stopped by.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, people will do anything. They'll become Scientologists. They'll play Dungeons and Dragons. Anything to get in the door, baby. It's a tough business.
That's right.
WWE's The Big Show apparently is also part of this
I
thing.
find that very hard to believe.
Jesus.
Yeah. He's a dork. Unlike Tito Santana, who's cool.
At what point last night, Fred, did you turn on or tune out of the Celtics game?
When it was 10-0 or whatever the hell it started, I turned it off.
Because we talk about this a lot of mornings and just in general. It's like, I thought that game was over. All right, it's never over in the first quarter, although 22-7, 29-12, you're thinking it might be over.
I'd gone to my son's basketball game where they won by 30, and it had all the looks of the game that my son's team had won by 30. And I'm not just saying that. I'd gone to a game at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and seen a blowout. My son only played 2 minutes, so it's not like he had much to do with it, so it's not a humble brag or anything. But I saw a blowout, and I'm like, this is a blowout. This is as big as Mitch match as the game I just saw. So yeah, I watched. I turned it on and it was already over.
Yeah, I mean it's in the first half though. You're generally reluctant to say a game is over.
No,
was it okay to say it was over at this point with about 4.5 minutes? 4.5 minutes still left in the second quarter.
Tatum steps to his left, 3 in the air, short and long rebound. Holiday has it. Tatum relocates into the left corner for 3. The Celtics are painting a masterpiece offensively right now.
Painting the doggone shut out, man.
That made the score 52-17 with 4.5 minutes left in the second.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was over quick.
What are we doing?
Yeah. You want to hear a statistic that Joe Murray reposted from a guy named Dick Lipe? Whatever. It's funnier the other way I said it. In 78 years of NBA basketball, there has only been 3 teams who have posted 2 50-point wins in a season. And they're impressive. Milwaukee, the 78-79 season, in Sacramento in 92-93. Is that the year that they stole the Lakers stole the playoff game from them?
Yeah, that's the guy that Gorman was talking about the other day, his statistician, Dick Leip. Right?
If I only would listen. He's got 2,910 followers. I mean, come on.
You should give him a follow. And
with my burner?
Obviously, the game was over. They're up 40, but you really know it's over.
He follows Dan Roach.
You really know it's over when you hear names like this out on the court and actually making plays.
Pritchard, top of the circle, going to step back into a three. Circles the rim, no good. Offensive rebound. Keita lays it up and in. He had inside-out position on Cam Johnson.
It's working on the inside, big fella.
All right, so now Keita's getting free drives to the lane for layups. You've got
steal by Brissett. He is off to the races. No one's going to catch him. Windmill dunk with the right hand.
Jacoby Brissett getting into the game. Good for him. I was wondering what he was up to. So now you got that. And big night for Joe Mazzulla. His 100th win last night.
Joey Moose.
I can't be who I am if they don't let me. I appreciate that. And that's a gift in coaching. You can always be in a situation to where you don't have empowerment or you don't have guys that allow you to be yourself. And that's an important gift that the players give me, and they give it to each other. And I think that's important for us to continue to grow in. So I'm grateful for that.
Hardy swears this guy's got charisma.
He does.
Hardy swears by him. John and Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like a lunatic when he talks to me, but I don't know him like you do. You two do.
Well, you seem like a lunatic to me, personally and professionally, but you've got charisma, and I like you.
Yeah,
I'm friends.
I'm like Bobcat Goldthwait. Wild man of comedy.
Crazy like an actor comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I make subversive dark comedies.
There was an incident last night that I was only tangentially aware of. Is that the word?
Close enough.
All right.
How would I know?
I'm going to say it like that. About something that happened before the Pistons game last night. Wallach clued me into the second part of it. It involves the center Isaiah Stewart, who was arrested.
Yeah. My cousin. He was arrested for putting a figure four on some chump, throwing sand in his eyes.
So there was an altercation between Stewart and Drew Eubanks of the Phoenix Suns in Phoenix last night, and Stewart was arrested for assault. You're like, oh, about time one of these guys, actually had, some legal ramifications for punching a player on the court. Oh, no. What happened, Wallach?
He sucker punched him in the face in the tunnel before they hit the floor. Isaiah Stewart. Apparently, there was some kind of argument as the two guys came out of their respective locker rooms and walked towards the tunnel to get them onto the floor. They got chest to chest, according to the story here, and then Stewart sucker punched him in the face. Eubanks,
if you're chest to chest, that's not a sucker punch, by the way. But go ahead.
Yes, Eubanks was still able to play. Stewart was already listed as out. He wasn't going to play anyway as a bad ankle. But police came in afterwards, arrested him, issued him a citation, and cut him loose. But the fact that police actually had to be called in is funny to me.
Yeah,
Very
I know,
funny
and
to me.
also not very manly. I mean, you got to let that slide. And then Devin Booker got kicked out of that game. It was a whole situation. There was a little too late, if you're asking me. I mean, if you're getting like teed up twice in the game as a ramification for your guy getting hit in the face, that's kind of a punk move. Go ahead.
There's one other incident that's somewhat famous in NBA circles surrounding Isaiah Stewart. There was a game a couple of years ago against the Lakers, and Detroit was playing the Lakers, and LeBron James came down. And it looked like intentionally hit Stewart in the face going for a rebound. And that happens sometimes, but it opened Stewart up. He was bleeding profusely from outside of his eye. And Stewart absolutely lost it, had to be held back. This is on the floor now while the game is going on. They had to stop play. There were 2 or 3 people that physically had to restrain him as he went after LeBron. Stewart's a huge guy. And if you wanted to get an idea of how angry that guy can be, he has a temper, that guy.
You wonder with, like, Devin Booker especially, it's like, did he, intentionally let his temper get the better of him because he knew that he was going to get an early vacation, getting ready for the All-Star break? Yeah. Here's what Kevin Durant had to say about it afterward. By the way, Phoenix went on to win the game.
It's almost impossible against this Pistons team.
116-100. So credit to them for pulling out a gutty win against a good team.
Against a good team, 16-point win. Good for them. A little breathing room.
Kevin Durant on the altercation.
Keep the game first. I mean, there's a lot of noise around our game. There's a lot of that comes with being an NBA player. You keep the main thing, then all of that stuff will fade away. It's unfortunate what happened before the game. It's supposed to be a brotherhood, but I also understand dudes get into stuff, and stuff may happen, but we try to avoid that in this league, but it happens, and hopefully we can move on from it.
It's like working in the diamond mines in Africa. I mean, it really is. There is a lot of stuff that comes with being in the NBA. A lot of guff that you got to take.
Kevin Durant talking about brotherhood. It's like, wait a second. I'm sorry. Aren't you the guy who left your team high and dry in Oklahoma City after you had a 3-1 lead in the conference finals against Golden State to go play for Golden State the very next year? What? Oh. It's a brotherhood among all teams. Oh, maybe that's the best example of brotherhood and solidarity. It doesn't matter what team you play for. We're all playing in the NBA. That's because that's what the fans want. They want just one big basketball celebration. It doesn't matter what team.
Brooklyn feels the love, I'm sure.
Well, he's someone who's like completely never going to be happy. Like there's nothing that he can achieve in life that is going to make him happy. I mean, Kevin Durant is someone who is just, by all accounts, is just miserable. And, with that comes the kingdom of heaven. Yes, John.
We talked about this. He got exactly what he wanted in Brooklyn. He got his good buddy Kyrie. He wanted James Harden. They went out and got James Harden. He got the team exactly the way he wanted it. He got the head coach he didn't want kicked out of there. He got the head coach he wanted brought in, and it still wasn't good enough. And you know what? He just left. He just forced them to trade him after that. And look, you saw what happened to Brooklyn last night. So what happened to Brooklyn the last 2 nights? All the players they brought in for Kevin Durant aren't helping at all.
And he went to Golden State and won, but then people said, well, you cherry-picked your titles, and he got upset about that. And sat on Twitter and had aliases on Twitter, and he's reacting to stuff like, what did you? I mean, did you want the rings or did you not want the rings? Like, what did you want?
The least likable all-time great in recent memory.
And it's funny because when he was young and in Oklahoma City, he seemed. I mean, he was weird. He carried that Bible around in his backpack because he wanted the Bible touching him at all times. No one else thought that was weird but me. But he seemed a little weird. But he wasn't didn't seem as miserable.
No, he was loved. He won the MVP in Oklahoma City. Remember up there, he thanked his mother.
Yes,
he was
do remember that.
Loved by everybody at that moment. And then he left, and everything went downhill.
Yeah, and it's not his responsibility to make everyone happy. But you wish you could just go, dude, like. Enjoy yourself a little bit.
Jesus.
Like, you went to Golden State. Like, you did as good as you could. I mean, you won. I mean, it's considered one of the all-time great teams. You were a part of it. I mean, you won championships. Now, it's just because people say that it's not so great, like, give yourself a little break there, Kevin. Like, you're really miserable. And Isaiah Stewart, thank you for keeping the illustrious Piston legacy alive by assaulting players. Because it is an organization that is just a long list of assaults. And good for them. Somewhere Rick Mahorn, who is very fat now, is nodding his head in the jovial brotherhood.
One of my favorite gifts I ever received, Jim Louth gave me a Rick Mahorn cameo for Christmas. This is probably like 3-4 years ago. And stoned to the bejesus, he's got Christmas music playing in the background. Bad angle on the iPad, whatever, shooting up. But he's just so happy.
Shooting up? That's bold of him. I'd like to see that.
Instead of using the camera angle from above, it's the one that's down on the desk. And he's just so happy because he's so high and there's Christmas music in the background. It was glorious.
Did you see the episode of The Detroiters that he's on?
No.
Oh, it's good. Rick Mahorn is a guest, and he's on the whole episode. He does community theater in an episode of The Detroiters.
Oh.
It's good stuff. He doesn't look well. But he is doing okay.
Heavy for his height?
I think just gravity, heavy. Like
heavy for anybody's height.
Like heavy just in literal terms. He would be very hard to lift.
Yep.
All right. The Bankroll Bunch are going to join us. Danny Lifshitz and the lady, who got flowers from an unknown person.
Oh, hey, that's
3
right.
dozen of them.
Yeah. 3 dozen?
Sent here to the station. And Lifshitz was like, well, they had to have been from someone at the station because no one else could. I'll tell you. We don't have time.
Oh, no.
I mean,
All right.
Lifshitz said something and you're just like, what?
Okay.
All right. Very good. We'll be